So welcome everybody to the second hour of Mindshifters Radio. Today is Thursday, March the 17th, 2022. And our call-in number is 563-999-3581. And press 1, and that puts you into queue to talk to us. And we'd love to hear your comments and questions because that makes this your show. And I will direct you again to the website, whyagain.org. And click on the bullseye or the start here, either one. And that'll, pardon me, I was doing two things at one time. That will take you to where all the worksheets are, audios, videos, just lots of information to direct you in the process of forgiveness. And when Michael gets on, I believe we are going to continue a conversation that we had with Susan from yesterday. It was an awesome conversation. So first I'll say welcome, Michael, and then I'll turn Susan's microphone on.
Thank you, dear heart. I am here, so let's rock and roll.
Hey, guys.
Hey, young lady, welcome.
Hey, hi. Well, Michael,
how do you beat
congratulations. Today? I'm tired, but doing very well. And tired because I spent the night, a lot of the night, doing that mind shifter on and off as I was trying to sleep.
In process.
Perfect mind shifter. Perfect mind shifter. I mean, it's just perfect. It was perfect. And I had a lot of realizations in the night. I wanted to, what we started talking about yesterday was let me start. Let me interrupt and say, Jeanie, how's your dad? First of all, I've been meaning to ask you.
Oh, thank you. Well, I was concerned for the first couple of days because, they had gone over to the skilled nursing center where he had been and tested him because you have to be able to be transferred with the assist of one person to be accepted into this other facility. And he passed the test, and we transferred him. My brother came down from Knoxville and helped to move furniture and everything. And so we got him in there, and then the very next day it took 4 people to get him from the bed to the wheelchair. And so I was real concerned that they were going to end up kicking him out. But he's gotten better. He went from 4 people to 3 people, and yesterday it was 2 people. And the physical therapist is very positive, and she actually specialized in Parkinson's. And so she's very familiar with Dad's situation with the Parkinson's and the dementia, and she felt very positive she could move him forward. So I feel better.
Oh, my God, that's amazing. Good. That was touch and go. Wow.
Yeah, it was like, I don't know if it was the change in places that threw him off for a couple of days, but I really like this new place. And
good.
And now
How
that
near
the therapist
you
is it's just about maybe 10-15 minutes.
Oh, not bad.
So, yeah. So about 7 exits down.
Have freed you up a lot to go about your life now. Your dad not at the house.
Yeah, it's actually, I still go by and see him every day for about an hour. I've skipped a couple of days, but once we got him settled, it was like kind of a weight just released, and Michael actually breathed me the next day, and so that helped tremendously. But it's moving in the right direction.
Oh, that's so good. Congratulations. Very hard. It's hard to see. My mom went into a nursing home for one day. I've told you that before. Her mind was fine, and that made a big difference. And she's tiny, so I could lift her. But we thought that was what you were supposed to do. Because she needed round-the-clock care. Because if she stood up, she might fall over. But it was such an unfortunate scene in there for a person like her. Tiny room, caregiver sitting right beside her watching TV all day, and my mother reads a great deal. And here's this TV going because the caregiver was bored. Why not? She has to sit there with my mother all day, every day. And so I went to see her, and I just said, Mom, I'm going to bring you home. I don't know how we're going to do this, but I'm going to bring you home. And it was actually very easy. But it was so different from what you're going through with your dad. Your dad's physical needs are much greater than my mom's were, and his mind, isn't always all the way there. So I hope you feel good about this.
Thank you. I do. I do. I was kind of anxious about it at first, but I have a peace about it now.
Oh, good. Good. Well, I'll get back to what we were talking about yesterday, but that's such good news.
Definitely things are moving forward with him.
Oh, good.
And thank you for asking.
Oh, well,
we've also started a new, I don't know if I mentioned this the other day, but we've started a new nutritional regimen with him, doing a lot of research on Alzheimer's and such. And there are some circles in which they're actually calling Alzheimer's type 3 diabetes.
Wow.
And really? For anybody who's got this problem going on, this might be a useful piece of information. And that what's happening is there's no insulin getting into the brain. And without insulin, sugar can't get into the cell, and so the brain cells aren't functioning because they have no glucose.
Wow.
And short-chain fatty acids, like simply starting to feed people coconut oil, organic coconut oil, or there's a thing called MCT powder oil, gives them short-chain fatty acids that the body can use, the cells can use to burn as fuel without insulin. And they're seeing tremendous results with that. And we just started that 3 days ago. And it seemed like, I don't remember the last time Dad remembered something from one day to the next. Like we were with him the day we gave him his first taste of this MCT oil and a spoonful of coconut oil. We were sitting, it was Sunday, and he'd gone to church. And we're sitting playing dominoes. And I asked him how church was. He said, I don't remember going to church. So we gave him that on Sunday and Monday, and then Tuesday, Jeanie came in. I think I've got my days right here. Tuesday, we had gotten a table for his room, and instead of waiting, I didn't go because I was working on preparing a presentation I had to do. Instead of waiting for me to get there, she decided to put the table together by herself, which she did. And then the next day, she came in, and he said, oh, I remember you sitting on the floor putting that table together. I don't remember the last time he remembered something that happened 24 hours ago, unless it was, a long-term thing in his life. So we're hoping that that's going to start to make a shift. We haven't seen him standing up on his own once. And 2 days after, the therapist, now this may be due to the skill of the therapist, it may have nothing to do with his brain function, but 2 days afterward, the therapist by herself was able to get him standing up on his own. So hopefully that's going to make a difference.
Now, let me add that he stood for about 30 seconds, but that was still the first time that he stood.
In months.
Oh, that's wonderful.
So anyway, holding the space that may, and I'm putting that out there, so if there's anybody else dealing with that, if that's not the case with him, it's not going to make a difference long term. But I've been doing research, and one person I listened to, her husband had been literally gone from their lives for months. She couldn't trust him alone to do anything. And now he's out working in the garden and cutting the grass and tinkering with the lawnmower, and and that's the only shift, the only difference you made was start to feed him this coconut oil.
Wow.
So,
and
it's a great supplement to take every day.
Coconut oil?
Well, I think organic is always better, but it's just coconut oil.
Gosh.
And then there's a thing you can buy on Amazon. It's called MCT powdered oil. And it's an even more absorbable form of short-chain fatty acids that the body can use. And our dietary regimen tends to leave us short in it. So it's something that anybody and everybody can do to help protect their own brain and the way their bodies metabolize fat.
Who wouldn't want to do that?
Yeah, I mean, it's real simple, and not expensive.
God, that's great.
And it tastes good. The MCT powdered oil if you put it in a drink or a smoothie, it's nice and creamy and adds a rich, creamy flavor like fat does. Only this is a truly healthy fat, not the garbage fat that the culture uses to add flavor.
Right. Oh, that's so interesting. Reports requested. Tell us. Keep telling us every once in a while how that's
we will.
going.
For sure.
Good. Well, I was asking you yesterday about some words that I could use before I had arrived in a state of present active love. Caught in the park with a new person right in front of my face. And what happened last night was it took a long time to come around to that. But, and I was dealing with Tim's sister, who is vaccination hesitant, and she's in a group of people, her whole community. It's a tribe of wonderful people, but none of them wanted to be vaccinated. And this has been a painful issue for all of us because we have this family reunion coming up, and the Connecticut laws say we have to have big get-togethers. You have to be masked and vaccinated, at least to this point. So we've been discussing, how can we get her here? What can we do? And she feels discriminated against. She thinks, she feels very personally about this, that she's being forced to get a vaccination or else not come to this reunion. So she's on our Zoom thing that we're doing. She has joined the Zoom group, and it has been just fabulous to have her on there. And we don't go near that topic because we're really divided. Two of the people on have not been vaccinated, and they have their reasons, and the rest of us have.
It's a tough one.
And it is a tough one. And it took me all night, off and on, trying to sleep, because she has been sending me the same set of videos over the last couple of weeks. She has sent me a set of videos advocating not having it and saying, why are we being forced to be vaccinated in all these issues? And I don't want to have that come between us. And your commitment sheet, Michael, helped so much. Let this not be the thing that keeps love from staying with us. So I kept remembering that. What's the most important thing? It's the love we have for each other. But I kept ruminating, darn, I want so badly to be right, because Tim and I are vaccinated and boosted, so we like to think we did the right thing. And, so there we have it.
And you probably did exactly the right thing for you.
Maybe. Well, and I'm thinking of Celinda because she got blasted out of the water by somebody who was mad at her for not getting a vaccination. So I was thinking about all this.
Well, of course, let's remember that nobody's ever mad because anybody else does or doesn't do something.
Oh,
so the person who blasts somebody out of the water, quote unquote, because they didn't get a vaccination, isn't blasting somebody in the water because they didn't get a vaccination. They're blasting somebody in the water because they have rage in them, and their rage can be put on anything and everything.
Right, and they've got rage because they're hurting, and that helps a lot because she's a fourth child. I'm a fourth child. We have a lot in common. There was, there were some situations, and so we've got that in common. So she feels unrecognized, unappreciated, unheard, shut out, and all of this comes up in her huge desire to have Tim and me change our minds. Yeah. And she's sending me material, and I don't want to see the material, partly because I've seen more than I care to admit about videos and things from that side. And whether they're true or not, there is so much darkness in some of the conspiracy theory stuff that I remember telling a good friend, we all know who he is. In his great-heartedness, he wanted me to watch a 5-hour film by this man, and I did. And I said, I don't know whether he's telling the truth or not. He's brilliant. He's articulate. He's done amazing research. I can't join you in this. I just cannot join this group you want me to join to be part of the conspiracy theorists, even if you're right. For me, it feels so dark. I can't do it. And he was very loving, and he said, oh, okay, well, I still love you and all that stuff. And I thought, Well, I hope so, and I hope we have a relationship. Actually, we haven't had much contact, and that's because it's so tough. But it took the night, and I thought about the mind shifter. The mind shifter you gave me is, I feel as if I have been being bawled out for being wrong, for misbehaving. It's the exact same thing as my sister-in-law is suffering. So this morning, I asked Rukha, would you dictate a letter to me, from me to her? And I wrote the letter, and it came rather easily. And the weird, neat thing is, you say when Miracle says, when love comes out, the other person feels it. I felt it. I had started out with no love, but I wrote the letter out of no love, and that answered my question to you of how do you find the words when the love isn't there? Well, you just have to open up and ask, which you've said a trillion gazillion times. But as soon as the letter was written and sent, I felt free again, and I still do, knock on wood. I hope it lasts.
Nice.
But that's the report.
Nice. Yeah, well, that's awesome. And, I don't know, how the state laws fit and work up there. Something that my son did. My son's getting married in a couple of months, and his mom is with him, and she has kidney failure. She's actually had a kidney replacement once, and that kidney has failed. So she's on dialysis and on anti-rejection drugs, and they've got her on a list for another kidney replacement. So she has no immune system. And so he's just having a very small wedding, but the resolution that he came up with was just a request to everybody, is if you haven't been vaccinated, please buy 2 quick test kits, and 3 hours before you show up to the wedding, do a test and make sure you're clean. And then I forget at what other stage, before the reception, do another test.
Yeah.
So he's protecting his mom, which is a reasonable thing to do. Which of course is the objective of the whole idea of masks and the whole idea of mandates and vaccines and all of that. And of course everybody's got the right to their beliefs, but maybe something like that. Again, I don't know if that would fit under state law there, but maybe something like that would open a space where she can realize that you're efforting, welcoming her, bringing her in, but there are some rules that you feel you need to follow to protect members of the family and to be in accord with what the rules and regulations are of the state you choose to live in.
That's a great idea.
Something like that might open a more welcoming space for her to resolve some of that pain that she's got of rejection. And that's an issue that, virtually everybody's carrying around that rejection issue. It's when you look at the history of parenting in our culture, it's insane. It's bizarre.
Yeah, well, I remember
Jeanie. We hold the space.
Oh, thanks. I remember Jeanie calling about her dad. You guys didn't want to have him vaccinated, but Jeanie desperately needed a week off, and the only condition was get him vaccinated. Then he can go with her brother for a week.
Right.
And the decision was made to do it. And maybe that, I don't know whether that actually kept him from being sicker when you guys got COVID and he caught it, which is amazing, but they say it happens. Yeah. Well, who knows?
Hopefully,
but
and
anyway.
I suspect, he had no ill effects from the vaccine, and I suspect that it did, very likely, because he had, prior to this whole thing, he's had spontaneous pneumonia in his lungs, so he was a candidate for death if he got COVID, and he did get COVID. He was double vaccinated, and he did get COVID, unfortunately, but he wasn't really all that sick. The only real problem he had was we had trouble keeping his oxygen level up, but he wasn't coughing or hacking, or so I believe it did play some protective role for him, and very likely saved his life. So,
oh my God,
that's my take.
The grace of God. Whoa,
yeah, for sure.
Well, I'm telling you, the vigilance, the openness, it's like minute by minute worksheets. There's no gap. It's the vigilance against my personal demons. I'm owning them. I'm not saying I'm a victim of them, but they're just, the phenylon scene is right here. moment to moment, catching the thoughts that are going in the wrong direction and clearing them out of there. But I feel as if I've been in a war zone with myself.
Well, you have. When we open, when you read what that from Fenelon, when you look at, just take one fact. In the last 75 years, there have been over 175 million people killed in war. How much unresolved pain does that leave everybody who was touched by 175 million lives that were lost, and the mothers and the fathers and the children and the spouses and the aunts and the uncles and the cousins of 175 million people murdered? How much unresolved pain does that leave? That is a war zone, and most people are literally carrying that around in their nervous systems.
Along those lines, because that is so true, our organist is going to be absent from church, and we're going to do a silent meditation just to support all people suffering in war situations. And I went online because they asked me if I would play something because she's not going to be there. Would I play the prelude and the postlude? And I said, I think silence would be best. But then I went online and looked up the Ukrainian national anthem. It's beautiful, but do you know what the words are? They're not good. They're not good.
Well, tell us.
What?
Share it with us. I've never heard it. I would love to hear what the words are, and it might be a good piece to put in the puzzle here to reinforce this idea of we need to be, from what you're saying, we need to be careful what we ask for. And when the whole nation asks for something and asks out of avoidance, the tendency will be to produce exactly what's being avoided. And, it's all understanding that is part and parcel of waking up to the truth of who we are.
Right. Well, I've toyed with the idea of rewriting the words national anthem, but I think that's a little bit hubristic because everybody's singing it, and it sure sounds beautiful.
It might be.
The word.
Yeah.
Ukraine is not dead yet, nor its glory and freedom. Luck will still smile on us, brother Ukrainians. Our enemies will die, as the dew does in the sunshine, and we too, brothers, will live happily in our land. We'll not spare either our souls or bodies to get freedom, and will prove that we, brothers, are of Cossack kin. So it just sounds as if, it's going to be us against them, the whole thing. Even they say they'll prevail and they have their land, but they're also going to kill the enemy. So I could
see that if we could speak to the Ukrainian people and speak about, I love that line about the dew, and if it were, and the pain of our enemies as our own will be transmuted like the dew is by the sunshine, that
gorgeous.
We could create something else with what we call our enemies.
That's a beautiful,
change this world.
A beautiful idea. Yeah. Oh, man. Okay, well, anyway, thank you so much for that mind shifter, because it also made me realize that you kept saying, I always hear you say some self-deprecating thing, and I know why I'm doing that. I'm doing it to beat you to the punch. If I punch myself first, you won't hit me.
That sounds like a Ukrainian idea from their national anthem.
Yeah.
So let's all stop punching ourselves and each other.
Right. I'm going
to treat you lovingly, gently, and with respect in my thoughts, my words, and my actions, whether I'm in your presence or not. These people are striving for life, and the oppression, the insanity that has gone on for so long on the planet comes from minds that are, as you said earlier, in such pain and suffering. And, we're all going to enter that gate of healing together ultimately, and we need to take the hand of each one that is in the kind of pain that they do that kind of, inflict that kind of trauma on another. They're simply recreating what's inside of them. And as we can take hands together, we can walk through that gate of healing together, too. and recognize that there's no one to hate. Yeah, there's no one to hate.
I was reading about the history of NATO and the fact that NATO's mirror organization in the Eastern Bloc was the Warsaw Pact. The Warsaw Pact, it disintegrated when Russia fell apart, and so Russia hoped that the NATO Pact would also disintegrate. Instead, it invited some of those nations that were on the cusp to join NATO, and that really bothered the Russians. And it seemed like an aggression. So you can see where that anger has come from, and this retaliation was a good thing to read about. I wish we could correct that too, just all back off.
Well, you know, it's interesting how often we're hearing the media repeat that thing about, bringing these nations into NATO and how here we are now sitting on the border of Russia. If you start taking, it's pretty one-sided reporting. If you start taking a look, you'll see that Putin's got supersonic jets that go twice the speed of sound, sitting right off of our borders, able to get here within minutes out of South America. So it's no different. I'm not sure why. I mean, I had to dig to find that piece of information. It's not out there like every time you turn around you hear about, you see NATO's coming in on our borders. Well, Putin's been putting his planes on our borders too. It's no different. It's the same issue, and again, we need to be resolving the same issues between nations that we need to be resolving inside of ourselves. And when we can get those brain cells built on a more global scale, we're going to see a shift happen. But I certainly hold those in Ukraine in a high connected space of love and support and healing. And right now they're spearheading the path to liberty for people, and I certainly hold them in the deepest space of love that I can.
Good. And Zelensky seems like an enlightened man, at least so far.
Pretty sharp, and you know, it boggles my mind when I hear the propaganda about, he's a Nazi. Excuse me, a Jewish man is a Nazi. That's like, come on now, can't you find a better piece of propaganda than that one? It's just a little bit of a stretch. But it's amazing how when people are in that kind of deep pain, they will say and believe anything that justifies their cause. I mean, there's just so much silly conversation going on, that people are just buying into, that it's just ridiculous on its face. But any evidence that's needed, if one has already drawn a conclusion, the mind will tend to accept without verifying it, and that's I think a great deal of what's happening. So definitely time for truth to become an honored guest in each of our minds.
Well, you're right about the microcosm mirroring the macrocosm of the battles we're going in. Our battles within ourselves are just like the battles out there.
Exactly. I'm with you.
Oh, thank you, Michael. Thank you, Jeanie.
And so let's take a minute for everybody in our audience, if everybody would just allow yourself to take a deep breath, maybe count from 1 to 5, take a breath in through your nose, and then hold that breath for just a 2 count. 1, 2. And then an 8 count. Breathe your breath out. 5 breath in. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And hold. 1, 2. And then an 8 count. Exhale. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, exhaling. That's a breath that tends to calm the nervous system and help to shift into that parasympathetic state of rest and relaxation, intelligence, thriving. And so we hold the space for every person in conflict to realize and own their part in the conflict, and to be able to process through their part in the conflict, and to be that space of love that brings forward the invitation for healing instead of external conflict. And where necessary, that the intelligence and the honoring of truth is there enough to hold those accountable who are out of harmony with the agreed ways that we've chosen to run our world. If they're out of harmony, for them to be held accountable for that, not as punishment, but as an act of love, as an act of healing, and as an act of protection for the rest of the world. So just holding the space for that. And thank you for the work you're doing. It's awesome.
And we have two hands up.
Well, let's say hello.
The first one is 808. You are on the air.
Hi.
Hello.
Roma. I had the same reaction when I read the lyrics to the Ukrainian national anthem. I was horrified by it. I was just, it was, so, Susan, if you're still listening, maybe you and I could just work on something. I mean, it would be very presumptuous for some Americans to rewrite the national anthem, but for God's sake, oh my gosh. So I'm offering myself as a musician, and Susan, you are too. So if you'd like to work with me on something, it would be very presumptuous. But Zelensky, I think, would understand. You know.
I have another thought.
Yeah.
I have another thought. Let's not rewrite the national anthem. Let's write a song using the theme of the national anthem that puts into it speech that will enhance every mind that engages in it, in their healing process, and in their creating liberty, gentleness, and real human life in their lives.
Well, maybe we should write a global anthem.
There you go. Great idea. Great idea. I'm with you on that.
Oh, God.
So maybe you two ladies will take on the task. That'd be awesome.
Yeah.
Who knows? You know, I mean, somebody's got to write it. So why not you two? And let's start to put it out. Literally, let's start to put it out internationally. Let's get it translated into every language that we can. Let's start to put it out there. A national anthem for a peaceful world, for a conscious world, for a world that's based in human life and the presence of love.
Oh, yeah. You just
cool idea. Yay. Let's go for it.
Yeah.
Good idea. Thanks for opening the space for that one.
Essentially, that's where we're heading, is the oneness, the experience of the global oneness.
For sure. And there's lots of work to be done, so, you know, it's awesome to have a community like this that's about doing that work. Doing that piece of work that you did just since yesterday, Susan, is just awesome. And the clarity you had on your last call is just fabulous, Roma. And coming forward with that idea, wow. I'm with it. And I have done some songwriting, and I'd be happy to engage as well and support that.
Great.
I was going to say, Michael, you've got to do it, because I'm thinking your commitment sheet would be the basis of that.
Yes.
That's the gut.
Yeah, in essence, that. Actually, several years ago, we had a couple of musicians who committed to put the commitment to music, but they never did it. I'm not sure just what happened there, but they sort of fell down on the job, and it never happened.
It probably was simply that it's not lyrics yet. There's a thing. An anthem has to be so very simple, and lyrics they might rhyme or not, but they have to have a shape. and the
Right.
commitment sheet wasn't meant for that. But it wouldn't take too much to make lyrics out of it, I think. So Roma, go to it, and I'll go to it, and Michael, you go to it, and we'll pool our stuff.
And Julie Matthews just texted me and said, "Count her in."
Yeah.
Cool.
That's great. Wow.
And I'll bet the lady, Jeanie, I bet the lady who did that song we spoke about recently, that came out of her listening to some of the work, I bet she'd join in it as well. That'd be awesome.
Probably, yep.
And I recently connected with a man when I was out in California. I actually spent quite a bit of time and did some still point breathing with a man who's traveled with all the big, like, huge names. He's considered to be one of the best guitar players in the world. And we had the conversation that he's about bringing healing words into music. And this guy's like a top level, he's played with the Rolling Stones and Mick Jagger, this is the level this guy's working on, and he's really about bringing healing words into music. So here we are. Look how many musicians we've got in 3 minutes. That's pretty cool.
Whoopee!
Wow.
Oh.
I actually wrote a song with a woman back 40 years ago called "Miracles Can Happen." So maybe we'll bring some of that
Michael,
into
where
it.
is it?
I'd have to find it. I'm pretty sure I have it committed to memory. It basically goes, miracles can happen, just you wait and see. Why don't you try miracles? All you do is be. Wake up every morning, glad to be alive. Truth within you tells a story. With love, your life will thrive. Who knows? Let's go for it.
Sweet. Yeah.
Not
so
bad.
happy to be part of a team. So good.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It was interesting this morning. Ari is here, and we had found. She loves dragons, and I had found a toy dragon that's about 3 feet tall, big, and it's heavy. It's got a motor in it. And it roars, and his eyes and changes colors and all that. So we were going to bring it downstairs to show it to her dad this morning. Now she's 3.5, and she goes over and she puts her hand on it. She said, "Well, I'll hold it here, and then you hold it back there, and we'll work like a team to take it downstairs."
Wow. Sweet. I have a dragon on the dashboard of my car.
Oh, really?
Beautiful. Yeah, transparent, light blue, transparent with gold trim. It's gorgeous.
Right.
Yeah.
Cool.
Sweet.
Well, she is into, we were sitting down there this morning, she's naming different ceratops, different kinds of dinosaurs. She just loves dinosaurs. And this weekend there's a big display, like a theme park that's moving into the city for a weekend that's all these ancient creatures. So she's excited.
Yeah, I don't blame her. That is very exciting.
Yeah.
That'd be exciting for any human being.
Yeah, dinosaurs is the thing.
So, and that goes back to the global, the global. What did you call it? Global. Because not only are we looking at here now, but everything that went into making here now, and everything that can come from here now, beyond time and space. Basically,
right.
What the topic of dinosaurs brought into my awareness.
Right. Well, and recognizing that we have this power in us that Yeshua informed us of called Rukha, that, going back and reviewing the definition, is in Aramaic is she who undoes the effects of our errors and teaches us the truth. So we don't have to figure the truth out, and there is this power that is beyond our comprehension, much as the Creator is beyond our comprehension, that when we give permission, can reach into all of time and space and undo the effects of the errors that any and all of us have made. All we have to do is move into volition for that, because our free will put it in place, and when our free will says it's time for it to go, then through all space and time it goes through that unfathomable power that's in us. So let's go for it.
Oh. Wow.
You know, whether it's the suffering in our own bloodlines, our own cultures, you know, whatever it is, it can be undone.
Yeah. What they call what we're going through the great turning, don't they? You know, this COVID thing. It stopped the whole world dead. I mean, it just stopped us in our tracks. And some people are calling it the great turning.
Definitely time for wake up.
Yeah. And coming up.
Yeah. Yes.
Woo!
Yep. Let's go for it.
Yeah, let's
all right. Well, we've all got our assignments now. Let's go for it.
All right. Well, I'll let someone. Yeah. Let's hear from the other caller.
All right. Let's go for it. Blessings.
Thank you.
Aloha. Okay. Bye-bye.
Aloha.
Mahalo. So, Jeanie, you've got another hand there to introduce.
It's area code 541. You're on the air. I believe it's Linda.
Yes, it is. I've been listening very closely to all the conversations with you and Roma and Susan. And I had some suggestions and some observations that I'd love to share with you.
Go for it.
And with all of us, including myself. When Susan was talking, by the way, Susan, I really love what you authored today. And when you were talking about your demons, I was thinking, they're only alligators. They're not demons. They're not the enemy. They are only alligators. And that's a representative, a metaphor for our animal part of our brain, our functioning program as the animal aspect of ourselves. And that the peace that we have within, I think, was what the Way of Mastery for me is saying about when you learn to dance a jig with the demon, with the devil, there won't be any devil anymore. There'll be the deep peace and acceptance that we're in process, like you said so many times. And the second thing I've noticed is that we are steeped in hate and fear languaging, and how many of our words, mine included, include striving, include resisting, include fighting, include kicking ass, include all of those things. And maybe it's, as we mentioned the other day, I think I mentioned this to Dr. Tim on his show, I'm becoming aware that Middle East I see out there, that Ukraine, Russia I see out there, is simply a reflection of my own Middle East inside.
Yeah.
So I want to
remember that you've never. Yeah. So my offering would be, remember that you've never seen anything out there. You've never seen the Middle East. You've only seen your mind's construct about the Middle East. And if it's in pain and trauma, then that's exactly right. And to me, that's like such a wonderful piece of information, because I now can clean that up in me. And when I clean that up in me, I become a contribution to cleaning it up out there.
Rather than a victim that I see myself as. And basically a victim has to take, it cannot give. From my point
Tends
of
to be
view,
part of the nature.
A part of the animal nature. And so we're either predator or prey as the animal. A part of ourselves, which is our clay body, our little temple, that we're supposed to make really beautiful while we're sojourning on this plane for however long that is in this arena, in this field. And I really appreciate what you said. Oh, by the way, Larry was born in the year of the dragon. And in the dragon in Eastern tradition is really representative of the great Tao, that life energy or the creative energy that is so incredible that everybody gets exhausted when they're around it because that's comment is made about the dragon. It's a reptile, Susan. It's an alligator basically, well, with wings, and a bird with alligator scales, and so that is exciting to me too. We don't need to be exhausted. We just need to ride on it and let it fly us where we need to go and where we desire to go. And so I thought I'd leave you with that image as well. And
I'll add a piece to it. Go ahead.
Go ahead.
I was going to just add a piece to it. I just finished doing a presentation for the Avison Corporation on the Avison and how it relates to the states of our nervous system. And I've talked a little bit about this in the past, but the vagus nerve is a nerve that is the largest nerve in the body, and the word vagus means wandering, and it wanders from the head up through the back of the spine and down the back of the spine and through the front of the spine, and actually could very well be the internal representation of the dragon. And when we're in a fear and hostility mode state, that energy in us is shut down. It's turned off. We move into what they call a sympathetic dominant state, where only survival functions occur and only lower brain functions, more reptilian type functions occur. When we awaken the dragon, when we awaken to the parasympathetic mode of operation, which is spoken of as being rest and digest, reproduce and pee, literally. If one's in survival, they don't have to urinate. And oftentimes people who have a problem with their alimentative channels, it's because they're in that sympathetic dominant state. But that nerve literally could be the internal, or the dragon is the external reflection, I would offer, of that, and it needs to be innervated in order for higher brain functions to work, in order for us to speak, in order for us to verbalize, in order for us to breathe, in order for us to reproduce, in order for us to digest, in order to rest, in order to eliminate. And so there's an internal representation of that. In order to be a human being, it flows through that part of our internal system. And that's how the whole organism gets to function fully.
That's
as above, so
really
below.
Important piece of information for me. Thank you. It strikes straight at home. I really appreciate that. And I have one other thing to share with you in relation to my coming to clarity with the event that happened between me and my long-term friend of 34 years.
Right.
You're Scottish, right, Michael?
That's my heritage, is Scotch, yes.
Well, that is Joe's heritage as well. And she is fascinated by Scottish history. And she is, she talks about how really vicious the Scots were in their history, from the history that she has read about them. And I got a clarity on that, and I realized that lady is working through so much pain. And we are at a Y with each other now. Can we continue? I would love to have her continue, and be supportive of her to continue. However, as we mentioned in the check that we did, evaluation sheet that we did, my personal, my honor
code evaluation
is really, really low. Yeah. Okay. So I cannot walk the why with her if there's going to be justification and denial and excusing of rage in either one of us. It has to come up, and it has to be processed, and it has to be allowed to heal and disappear.
And remember that
this particular issue.
And remember that before you had the brain cells to understand that, you couldn't do it.
That's right. Exactly.
Now you have the brain cells so you can see it's possible, but it's going to be important for you to cancel your goal for her to be able to do it, because if she doesn't have the brain cells, she can't do it. And it always remains for the person who's has the brain cells to hold the space for the higher level of function.
And also now that I am in a space to be able to begin honoring myself and making the commitment to myself, I am unwilling to voluntarily put myself in front of someone to be kicked. Does that make sense? And it doesn't because it's not because I don't care for them. It's not because I am I think they're a horrible something or another. It's simply there is equality here. Equality. We treat each other as we would desire to be treated. And that's what we do anyway, isn't it?
It is. And my offering would be my offering would be that you listen to your regulatory speech about what it isn't about, and recognize the only reason you're verbalizing that is because there's probably a dissociated part of your mind. Clean that out. You'll open another whole level of safety and space for the two of you to be able to resolve.
Right, and there are going to be some speed bumps along the way for both of us. I agree with you. The minute I said I'm unwilling, I'm unwilling. How would we phrase that in a regulatory way that's positive? I will avoid putting myself in a situation.
The idea isn't to change the language to do it right. If you do that, then you'll layer language over top of an issue that needs to be healed. And the underlying issue will still be the governing energy. The idea is to look at what your regulatory speech is informing you of, do the work to clean it up, and then spontaneously from within you will come the speech that will put you on track and keep you on track.
That's what Susan was asking for. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Good work, Susan.
That's the whole... we spend days on this.
Pardon?
In the Laws of Living Intensive, we spend days on this topic of regulatory speech. It's such an important key in the whole process.
So it's not about turning it into a doctrine. It's about understanding the essence of what it is.
It's about discipline, being properly taught, teaching our own minds, bringing healing to it, rather than beating it up if it's doing the wrong thing and forcing it to do the right thing. Because you remember our definition from the intensive of propitiation. T.S. Eliot had a little poem that he wrote about propitiation. Right. 'Tis the highest treason to do the right thing for the wrong reason.
Yep.
Sadly, that's what a lot of parents do with their children. They force their children to do it because it's the right thing to do, and they never give their child the space to process what's underneath it that's going to govern their behavior anyway. I don't care how much somebody tries to force them to do it, until they're able to dig up and deal with and confront what's underneath the surface. Propitiation, doing the right thing for the wrong reason, is treason.
Right. Very good. That really clarifies and helps.
Sweet.
I just one thing, and it's not but, and I just realized that that little bit of information that dropped into my brain about studying the Scottish history was very helpful for moving me into more compassion.
Yeah, you look at that history. And
she's looking for something. Pardon?
I say, if you look at that history, it's pretty heavy-duty stuff when you look at what the British monarchy did to the Scots and the Welsh and the Irish, the brutality that was visited upon them, and then, of course, returned as they became the power person. It's created some pretty crazy stuff, and definitely a mass that needs to be healed.
And it's no different than Russia and the Ukraine, or no different than us and whatever
We're just humans.
is our quote-unquote enemy. Pardon?
No, it's just we're humans, and there's work to be done.
That's it. That's it. Well, thank you for allowing me to share, and it's all good.
All right, young lady. Well, I think you're...
My approach is when the commitment to myself is completed and online, then I will use those two commitments plus the responsibility communication, and then I will write my letter, and out of that I think will be a letter that I am then ready to write to my daughter, a responsibility communication.
Well, we'll be holding the space, and I am working on that. I do have it, and I do have some shifts and changes in the language of it, and I will get that to you as I complete it.
No worries, because everything is in its proper timing.
Cool. All right. Well, you have a blessed rest of the day, and thank you for your input.
Thank you. Bye-bye now.
All right. So, Miss Jeanie, we've got about 3 minutes left. Do we have anybody out there with a hand up or anything happening in the chat room?
Well, someone had asked a question in the chat room, but I asked them to clarify it because it's what they said was, my father also had Alzheimer's. How does this fit in with Michael's thoughts? And I wrote back and said, fit in what way? And I said, we can do things to strengthen ourselves physically, but we still have to do our inner work. It goes hand in hand. I don't know if they were referring to, that they had a disease process, but yet, doing your work or whatever. And they didn't respond. So I said, my dad actually has Parkinson's and dementia. It's very much the same as Alzheimer's. I personally think, and I could be wrong, that it was Dad's way of checking out mentally after Mom died. And she did not have anything specifically wrong with her. She just died. It was unexpected. And then Dad began a downhill journey. And I wrote back again and said, please clarify your question if I've not answered it fully. But I haven't heard back from them, and they've actually left the chat room at this moment. So.
Right. Well, we'll hold the space. If there's more clarity needed, they'll be back, and we'll get the opportunity to help clarify.
Yeah. And you might announce that, we had decided to, different people had different reasons they couldn't be at the Still Point on what day was that? March the 12th. And so we decided to do it on Sunday, this coming Sunday. And
right. Yeah, if anybody wants to step into the Mind Shifters and Still Point breathing session that we're going to do on Sunday, it'll start at 10 o'clock on Sunday morning, and it'll probably go through, I don't know, till 1 or 2, I'm not sure exactly, and then Wednesday evening at 7 o'clock we'll meet again for the Mind Shifters. Tuesday. Okay. Tuesday evening we'll meet for the Mind Shifters and Still Point breathing. So if you want to be a part of that, drop Jeanie a note, JEANIE at whyagain.org, or give either one of us a call. The session is set up to, you can do a single Mind Shifters and Still Point breathing session. You can do a 3-pack, 3 months, or you can do a full year. And so if you're interested in that, drop us a note, and I'll be back in touch with you. And we're down to the last minute or so we hold the space for a world of serenity, a world of responsibility, a world of people who breathe, function fully out of their highest faculties,
and treat each other lovingly, gently, and with respect. Blessings. Bye-bye.